What's going on, guys? First Sergeant V here, back with part 2 of our Mission Command series. Um, Today's video is part 2. Like I said, it's called The Nature of Operations. All right, so we're gonna learn about nature of operations today. And like I stated in the intro video, we're going to continue building on this series. So the first 15-20 videos, it's all going to be rolled up as we go further into the series, and it's going to go more in depth. So without further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to start learning about the nature of operations. By the way, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. All right, I really do appreciate, guys, all your support throughout the years. So like I said, this is Mission Command, the Nature of Operations Part 2, right? So ADP 6-0 just gives you pretty much a brief overview. If you really want to go in depth, you need to look at ADP 3-0, okay? Yeah, that's some great resources out there. So let's talk about the nature of operations, right? So military operations fall along a competitive continuum that spans cooperation to war, right? So what I mean is between these extreme societies maintain relationships. These relationships include economic competition, could include political idolization, tension, at times of armed conflict, violent powers struggling in failed states, along with the emerging of major regional powers. For examples for that could be Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, seeking to gain strategic positions of advantage that present challenges to a joint force, right? So as an army force, we must prepare to meet these challenges across the range of military operations during periods of competition and war. So the range of military operations is a fundamental construct that helps relate military activities and operations and scope of purpose against the backdrop of competition. So there is a range of military activities and operations that extend from military engagement, security, cooperation, deterrence, up through large-scale combat operations of war, right? So whether countering terrorism as part of a limited contingency operation or defeating a peer threat in a large-scale combat, the nature of conflict is consistent, okay? So military operations are either one of three things: human endeavors, conducted dynamic or uncertain environments, and designed to achieve political purpose. So we're going to touch on these briefly. Like I said, as we go through the series, we're going to build more and more on this. So before we get into human endeavors, I want to show you this, okay? So this is ADP 6-0, right? So military operations are inherently human endeavors representing a contest of wills. So this map talks about how operations must account for the nature of war, which leads to your unified land operations. And these are simultaneous operations. Could be offense, defense, stability, defense support of civil authorities. All right, so all these multiple domains help shape the operational environments to prevent conflict, prevail in large-scale operations. And then it talks about the Army's operational concept, right? So it's enabled by Mission Command. So like I said, this whole series on Mission Command. So Mission Command is the Army's approach to command and control that empowers subordinate decision-making and decentralizes execution appropriate to the situation. So when we talk about that, we talk about enabling the principles. So we're going to get more in depth with the principles of Mission Command in another video, but I just wanted to show this here, how it all relates. Command and control is fundamental to all operations, right? It talks about command and control, the elements of command, the elements of control, and then it all gets tied into what we call the war fighting functions, right? So it's either fire, sustain, protect, movement, maneuvers, or intelligence, right? And then we talk about the command and control systems, whether it be people, processes, networks, or command post. So let's talk about the nature of operations. Like I said, there are three: human endeavors conducted in dynamic, uncertain environments and designed to achieve political purpose. So human endeavor, right? So war is a human endeavor. So to categorize this, it's a clash of wills by a threat or application of force and violence, often fought among populations. It's not a mechanical process that can be precisely controlled by mission calculations, machines, or processes, nor is it conducted in a careful, controlled, and predictable environment, okay? Fundamentally, all war is about changing human endeavors. It is both a contest of wills and a contest of intellect between two or more sides in conflict when each trying to alter the behavior. Like I said, during operations, Army forces face thinking and adaptive enemies. different agendas among the actors involved, all the variable perceptions of public opinion on both sides. Okay, so we need to make sure we keep that into an account. As friendly forces seek to impose their will on enemy forces, the enemy forces resist and seek to impose their will on friendly forces, right? So we're always adapting. A similar dynamic occurs among civilian groups whose own desires influence military operations. All aside, act, react, learn, and adapt. Okay, so remember those keywords there: act, react, learn, and adapt. Appreciating these relationships is essential to understanding the fundamentals of nature of operations. So we talk about dynamic and uncertain, right? So this is a good quote that I like, and this is straight out of ADP 6-0. War is the realm of uncertainty. 3/4 of the factor which action in war is based are wrapped in a fog of greater or lesser uncertainty. The commander must work in a medium which his eyes cannot see, which his best deductive power cannot always fathom, and with which, because of constant changes, he can rarely become familiar. I love that quote. All right, so like I said, war, especially in land combat, is dynamic and it's uncertain. Complexity of friendly and enemy organizations has unique combinations of terrain, weather, dynamic interaction among participants, right? So chances and frictions further increase the potential for chaos and uncertainty during operations. The scale, scope, tempo, and lethality of large-scale combat operations and dynamic is uncertain to the nature of war, okay? Could be delaying or making precise cause and effect determination is difficult. So, like I said, war is chaotic. Okay, depending on an appropriate to the command and control of the operation that does not attempt to impose perfect order, or rather makes allowances for certain created by the frictions. So, our third thing is designed to achieve political purpose, right? So all U.S. military operations share a common fundamental purpose, right? We achieve specific objects that attain the overall political purpose of the operation. Then we talk about objectives, right? Directing every military operations towards a clear, defined, decisive, and attainable goal. Okay, it's the principle of war. In a large-scale combat operation, the purpose of the operation may not be to destroy the enemy's capabilities and will to fight. The purpose of operations, also large-scale combat, may not be nuisance and difficult to define, and they may require support to achieve multiple objectives. These operations frequently involve setting conditions that improve positions of relative advantage compared to a specific adversity or achieving strategic aims, okay? So in either case, all operations are designed to achieve a political purpose set by national authorities. So more into political purpose, mission command requires tactical and technical competence, right? So we need our commanders, staff, and subordinates operating in an environment of mutual trust and understanding. It requires building effective teams and a command climate in which commanders encourage subordinates to take risk and exercise disciplined initiative to seize opportunities and counter threats within the commander's intent. Okay, so like I said, everything links back to mission command. Through mission orders, operations, commanders focus their subordinates on the purpose of an operation rather than on the detail on how to perform the assigned task. All right. Commanders also need to support exercise command and control effectively. At every echelon of command, commanders are supported by the command and control warfighting function, the related task and system that enables commanders to either synchronize or converge with elements of combat power. Commanders execute command and control through their staffs and subordinate leaders. So this concludes part 2. Like I said, this is just an overview. As we go further through the series and we get more in depth in ADP 6-0, we're going to continue building on this. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Stay tuned for part 2. We're going to talk about unified land operations. I hope this video was helpful. And as always, go Ordnance.